Here's the quote that I've got. Oi Peter, 4 more years, you fuckwit.
I've talked to Peter a few times, had a beer with him, and think it's all part of the game, and hopefully he sees it that it was left out there. I haven't talked to him since, but I think that game and the quarterfinal of 2015 with versus the French were probably the 2 most exciting games to be in.
What did he say? Just for reference.
You're a shit rich in the core, I think.
Is that what he said?
Yeah. He's done it. Peter Sefton toy. I think he made 27 tackles in the World Cup final.
He'll say 28. just so you know.
They're both holding each other like this, and my arms look like toothpicks. And his are like cannons. And the number of times I got said that from people like, look, you start doing some gym, and I'm like, I'm trying my best. Probably a great coach and a great person. From my eyes, like he did nothing wrong in that.
Right, Brodie, we're just saying, mate, class to have you. You've come in hot on your motorbike, your push bike. Mate, living the dream.
Yeah, well, it's probably the most convenient way to get around the island. Well, I think the first time I turned up here I was expecting beaches, but obviously we've got port.
It's a port. Well, we were just saying as well when we were turning up, like, Kobe, it's lovely, it's on the coast that we've come. It's got like an Invercargill feel to it here.
Oh, I don't know about Invercargill.
Do you like Invercargill?
Oh, I've only been there once, to be fair. Good people in Invercargill though.
Edgy, I was going to say, that's what it feels like. But what's it like here? Are you enjoying it? So we're in Kobe. It's quite a famous Japanese club now because of the legends that are coming through. But give us an idea of what it's like.
No, it's probably, as you summed it up, like a gritty city. You know, our team, the Cabalco Steelers, are run by a steel company, and they own they employ like 35,000 people. So it gives you a scale. Like, it's not a massive city, but it's like they play a big part in it. And you know, we're not far from Osaka, which is obviously a little bit more lively, but mate, we love it obviously here with the schools and the kids and the family time and the club. The people of the city love the club as well. Yeah,
and it's got harder over the last couple of years.
Definitely a lot of development and players obviously going on, and just the amount of competitive teams that are now in the competition. It's probably not far below Super Rugby, a lot of the teams, to be fair.
I was looking at your social media as well, mate. You're buying and selling cars here. You're shipping them home as well. They're bulletproof here, that's why, aren't they?
I obviously love cars, and obviously being in Japan, it's I don't know, it's just a little bit of a hobby on the side, I suppose. So me and the mate are sending them home to New Zealand and flicking them on, and it's just something to keep me busy, I suppose.
Come on, give us a bit more detail then. What kind of cars? Because we were in the Toyota taxis, and I was literally saying to the lads, I was like, these are fucking bulletproof. Like, these are unreal, but they do make a proper car here. So which ones are you spinning back home?
We're more in the JDM scene, they call it, which is like the Japanese supercars, I suppose you say, the Nissan Skylines and the old Subarus and stuff like that. So that's what we know, so we're giving it a crack anyway.
The Nissan Skylines. Yeah. And what did you say, Subarus? Are they the Subarus? Same thing?
Yeah, same thing.
Subaru.
Yeah.
And like, you're a big man like me. Like, life's not made for people our size. And we were laughing with some of the social media stuff going around. So it's mental, isn't it? Like, this is a place for smaller people, albeit everything's efficient. But life's not built for people like us. How are you getting on?
It's had its battles. Like I said to you, you go put the shoes on to go into a restaurant, they don't fit. I think the lowest doorway I found was at the bridge of my nose into a bathroom in a hotel room.
People videoing you and stuff like that when you're knocking.
It made for a good photo. So we're lucky we live in some pretty good sized apartments, but yeah, it's definitely not built for tall people. Yeah.
Some breaking news last week that your partner in crime, the great Sam Whitelock's retiring.
Yeah.
Thoughts on that? Like, as in, right time for him? Were you surprised, or could you see it coming?
Well, I had been hearing a few whispers that he was going to go back to the All Blacks, and I thought, geez, he's going to give it another crack. Is he good on him? But it's obviously time. Yeah, I guess. Yeah, he obviously realised that maybe it is time, and had had enough, and moved back to the farm. But I think, you know, how can you say? What can you say? He's had such an outstanding career, and you know, whether he wanted to carry on or hang up the boots like he is, he deserves to make that choice, which I'm glad he got to. Yeah,
exactly. Well, this is what I mean. It's like, you talk about legends in the game. Most capped All Black goes down as a legend, and your partnership as well. and this is like a kind of a debate that will be debated for the rest of time in rugby folklore, but you've got Victor Matfield and Bacchus Botha, and you've got yourself and Sam, the two best partnerships ever. Like, do you, like, as a player, I know you're still playing and you're humble and stuff like that, but was that ever a thing with you and Sam and Bacchus and Victor and people talking about the greatest partnerships?
Not really, to be fair. I remember I never really got to play against Buckies, but I remember when I first made the Chiefs, we went to, I'm sure it was when he was playing for the Stormers. Maybe it was the Cheetahs. Anyway, we played Victor, and I was like, I'll see how good I am, and pulled my line out right beside him, and he picked it off, and I was like, okay,
Yeah,
that's the standard. But I think with me and Sam, like, we were probably just both so competitive, and when I was kind of trying to make the All Blacks, he was the next big thing, and it's probably that's what spurred us along, like, during our career, is just trying to be outdo each other probably, and keep us going for as long as we did.
Yeah, so you had Brodie Retallick, Sam Whitelock, Bacchus Botha, Victor Matfield, and you had Jim Hamilton and Alistair Kellogg. Do you remember him? Do you remember Al Kellogg or not? No, just say no.
I was a teenager when you were there, remember? I don't remember, he's not that good.
Yeah, of course. Well, something that's debated as well, I was chatting to the lads about it on the way in, like the greatest All Blacks to have ever played. Like, Sammy would be in that conversation, right? Well, if you're the most capped All Black, I always say if you get one cap for the All Blacks, you're a world-class player. Where do you put Sammy in that list? This is real pressure now, Brodie.
Yeah, that's real pressure. Oh, look, he's got to be top 5, like, for me, you know, like you say, most capped. There's a reason you can endure, and the professionalism and the ability to play. So he's definitely in the top 5. I'll give him that.
Top 5, there you go. That is like your brother, your partner in crime. You're going to do that. Right, let's go through. Give us your top 5 All Blacks of all time. Yeah. Go from 1. I'm going to say go straight to the top.
Top 5. It's a tough question. I think number 1, I'd have to go Dan Carter.
Okay.
He'd be my number 1. He's an absolute wizard, as we all know, and I was lucky enough to then game play with him here for the couple of seasons, and I think even at 38, like, he was last lead at training field, always kicking goals, just his level of professionalism, you know. And then probably his partner in crime, Richie McCaw, would have to be right behind him.
Number 2,
yeah,
all right.
Yeah. He'd be number 2, obviously, same thing, like, legend and just so good on and off the field and his leadership. I'm going to say Aaron Smith.
All right.
Yeah. Obviously played with Nuggie a long time, and just he is an unreal number 9, obviously, and then just his ability and his competitiveness. He could still be there right now. He's obviously overplaying in Japan, but how energetic and how good he is, I think he could continue on if he wanted to. Number 4, I'm going to go someone else I play with as well, and that'll be Dane Coles.
Yeah. I love Dane Coles. Yeah, love watching him play.
Yeah, for the hookers, you know, and he probably changed the game a little bit in terms of what a hooker does with his skill set and his speed, and again, he's just so niggly, and I enjoy that side of the game.
And then you're going Sam at 5.
And I'll go Sam at number 5.
So with these lads, right, these legends, who do they think, like, their conversations of, like, great All Blacks gone by? Because, like, we were talking about it, so you've got Dan Carter, but then you've got, like, Ma Nonu.
It's probably a little bit personal too, I suppose, but, like, you know, you throw Kevin Milano, Conrad Smith, and that was just who I was lucky enough to play with. So, and then you get the older generation that's watched All Blacks before us and before them that would have their opinion, but I don't know. How do you honestly crown number 1?
Yeah, you can't. Like, that's what I mean. I have put you under pressure here, but I think, like, the kids especially, and, like, as in the super fans, like, getting someone like you, because you'll be in that conversation as well, is some of the greatest players who have ever done it. Yeah. And, like, with that as well, like, how much of I'm going to ask it kind of like 2 ways: a responsibility to be an All Black, and maybe sometimes not a burden, but that kind of real kind of micro pressure, because the fans there expect to win a World Cup every time. Do you know what I mean? Every time you go to a World Cup, they're like, right, and you are in the conversation. Well, you made a final this year. Just talk us through what that's like.
Yeah, obviously it comes with a huge responsibility, and probably more so than not in the last couple of years when it wasn't going so well. You saw the side of it that I hadn't seen before, but then the flip side is that it just shows how passionate, obviously, New Zealand supporters are and All Black supporters are. You know, as an All Black, when you first make it, they say, you know, you're an All Black 24/7 now for the rest of your life. You'll always be referred to as an All Black, and I guess, you know, it comes with the honour of being picked and becoming one. And I guess from there you're seen as a bit of a role model, and how you portray yourself on and off the field and through your actions, and then become pretty important, especially to the public.
Yeah, and what happened over them couple of years then where the form was up and down? I know there's a transition of players and stuff around that, but to not even be kind of in the conversation when you went into a World Cup, do you know what I mean? It felt like no one was talking about the All Blacks.
Yeah, obviously there was a fair bit of turmoil going on, and the results weren't kind of happening as we come to expect it. And at times it wasn't very nice, especially with around Fozzie and Sam. I played with Sam since I was 20 years old, and I know how much he cared about the job and of being captain in the team and what people were saying about him. But at the end of the day, I think internally we knew we could be good enough. We did have to sort some stuff out and get it right, but I think it showed in this reasonably short time that we could put the team back to where we were in the final and gave ourselves a chance to win it.
Well, we'll get on to the World Cup because we did see the big shift. But on Sam, that's the one for me where I'm looking at a player where he's got the impossible challenge, right? Because we've mentioned Richie McCaw, you've put him at 2. Poor Sam, because either way, you know what I mean? You could be the best player on the planet in that moment, but people are looking at Richie McCaw and you're trying to follow that. How difficult, without speaking for him, do you think that was?
Yeah, I don't even know if I could comprehend it, to be fair. He's obviously Richie was the captain and he was in the squad and kind of played underneath him, and then given the captaincy role and the 7 jersey was a massive one to fill. But I think when he wasn't playing with the niggles and injuries, he was right up there with the World Cup Class 7 and again at the World Cup on those tough test matches where you need a 7 to be physical and make tackles, and around the breakdown he was there. So I'll give him, applaud him for what he had to deal with and the way he keep playing on the field.
Yeah, well, I know you didn't win the World Cup, but Ben, who's filming, we were pitch side for that game against Ireland, and we just couldn't believe it. We could not believe how good the game was. Just let's dig into that before we go back and go through a bit of the history between you and Ireland. Are we overreacting? Was that one of the best games we've ever seen? Was that one of the best games to have played in?
Yeah, I hadn't thought about the World Cup too much until sort of the last week, and when you said you're about meeting up, and
you knew what was coming.
No, but I think that game and the quarterfinal of 2015 versus the French were probably the 2 most exciting games to be in. When they were both quarterfinals in the end, but I guess when you got the build-up of winning and losing and teams beating each other, and obviously them coming down to Wellington or beating us in Wellington in New Zealand, it builds that anticipation for it,
Yeah, so we'll go into Wellington then, because everything that went around that. What was the aftermath at home? How were you feeling about that? Bundy Aki stealing chicken from women in the street. Do you know what I mean? The way that they went about that, which was great for Northern Hemisphere, and it built the hysteria around the World Cup and around Ireland being the #1 team. What was it like at home?
Yeah, I guess that was kind of the start of the tumbleweed rolling and building momentum around the team and the media and stuff like that. But at the same time, it was internally for the squad, we were bitterly disappointed to lose it. With just being competitive rugby players, you want to win every match, but the way we didn't perform very well, and then obviously them, it was history, beating us in New Zealand in a series for the first time. But they deserved it, so we knew from then that we had to be better, and I guess that's where the change started to happen.
Yeah, was anyone talking about Bundy Aki stealing chicken wings and stuff like that, or not? Do you know what I mean? What the lads say, your mates getting stuck in and stuff like that, or not? Is it quite a serious thing because you've lost that home series?
We definitely got a bit of chip, and you saw them obviously out enjoying themselves, and they let us know about it on the field. But good on them, it's they deserve to celebrate it, and we kind of sat in our hotel room, I suppose, in a little bit of sorrow. Yeah,
what do you mean they let you know about it on the pitch? what they're saying?
Oh, just how
you can share it.
I think everyone's probably read it.
Yeah, they've read it. I've got the quotes. Got the quotes because the big quote. Hang on, just so I've got it right here. Make sure. Well, firstly, James Lowe he's said something about you before saying that you're the most chopsy on the pitch.
Yeah.
Is that right or not? So you've got. Wouldn't have thought that. I'm watching it unfold. I wouldn't be like Brodie Retallick. You seem quite quiet, but do you like giving it a bit when you're on there?
I don't mind it. I guess when I first started in Super Rugby, it was like, it's probably maybe not so much a part of the game anymore, but it was there, and it was just what I learned. And
Yeah.
I don't know, I guess it's also the mental side of the game. If you're on top of them or someone's having a bad day, you let them know about it. You know, so they'd do anything to win sort of set up, I suppose.
But with James, is it more specific because he's from New Zealand? So did you get stuck into him?
I try not to make it too personal, but it's just banter, I reckon.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
But with that as well, because that island, All Blacks rivalry now, because you've got Bundy Aki, you've got Jamison Gibson Park, who's phenomenal at the minute, and you've got James Lowe. Do you know what I mean? They are probably looking at you guys when you're doing the haka, and it must feel a little bit weird. So are you making sure you double down on them moments with them?
I'm actually pretty good mates with James, so yeah, I always probably try steering him just to see, because it probably does feel a little bit weird on the other side.
It definitely would feel weird, wouldn't it? That would feel weird for him. Yeah. And I know he's spoken about it, and he's a legend now in the Irish jersey, the way that he's played, what he's done. You know what I mean? Does that make you want to get stuck in? Do you feel like he's Judas the All Blacks or not? How is that?
No, I say good on him, he obviously saw an opportunity there, and he's gone over there and, like you say, made the most of it. And at the recent World Cup, he was phenomenal as well. So, those boys that go over there and make that commitment, it's good on them, I reckon. Yeah.
So here's the quote that I've got. Oi, Peter, 4 more years, you fuck wet. But they are quite chirpy, aren't they? That's why. I suppose because you've got the best team in the world at the minute, the way that they were playing. Everything about stealing chicken wings and Peter hanging about in Wellington like he's the king. Probably felt like the king, to be honest. So I know it's been told, but kind of just give us an idea of how that went down.
Yeah, you pretty much summed it up. Like that. It just come to me that moment in Wellington where he was obviously spraying Sam and giving it to us, and for when we were lost and they'd won, and good on him. Like I say, I think it's part of the game and fair play, but I guess that was my opportunity to give it to let him know back. After the quarterfinal, he was just in front of me, and I said it, and I have talked to Peter a few times, had a beer with him, and think it's all part of the game, and hopefully he sees it that it was left out there. Haven't talked to him since, but that's pretty much it.
Yeah, of course. Right, so we've built up the narrative to that game against Ireland at the World Cup quarterfinal. You said it's one of the best games you've played in. It's the best game I've ever watched. Just give us an insight into the intensity of that match, if you can.
Yeah, it was obviously you have those weeks in Test rugby where you just know the game on Saturday is going to be a big one and it's going to be physical. And it was one of those, you finished the week before and Sunday I was like, all right, we got Ireland, and the intensity was through the roof. Like the French crowd, well, I mean, it's probably mostly Irish supporters in there that night. It was just so loud in the stadium, and it was like tit for tat for a while there until Richie made that break off the back of the line out, and then it just felt like the game come alive really. And then it's almost a little bit of a blur. It's just defending for so long at the end there until Sam got the turnover, but the set piece battle was there, and like you say, the tries were the line breaks, the physicality. It had everything a good rugby match is all about,
Yeah, and with that was what about the pressure? So you've mentioned the 2 years in the lead up to that. You lost the opener against France, the summer tour. Do you know what I mean? The pressure must have been immense. The pressure was on them, right? Because they were the #1 team in the world, and it was the quarterfinal that they'd never got past before. Was all that being fed in?
Yeah, I wouldn't say we had we were talking ourselves like the underdog, but we talked about all the pressure was them. Like you say, there's the quarterfinals. They'd beaten us down in Wellington. They've beaten us the last 2 games we played them, and I think the majority of the time over the last 6 to 8. So I guess we had that little bit of a chip on our shoulder from Wellington, and what better way to end it in a quarterfinal. And
we were talking about the performance of Sam Cane in that game. It obviously meant a little bit more. And what does a little bit more mean? You're already the All Blacks captain, you're in a quarterfinal, but watching his performance, was just out of this world sensational.
Yeah. I suppose you could maybe thank Peter a little bit for that. I know he didn't remember. He still remembered what he said. He hadn't forgotten.
What did he say? Just for reference.
You're a shit Richie McCaw, I think.
Is that what he said?
Yeah.
Okay.
And I was standing right there when he
So
said
he knows how to push the buttons, right?
Yeah.
I mean, anyone else would be happy to be a shit Richie McCaw. You know, I'd be like that.
Yeah, I'd take that too. I mean,
Yeah.
what we say, number 1 and 2.
But he knew that was obviously a thing, so he's gone dirty on him. Right?
Yeah. He's done it. But I don't know. As you get that natural instinct, you know, like the fear of being beaten, the fear of being knocked out, and it just adds that little bit extra to your preparation. And like you say, no one in the competitive world wants to be the underdog, and like we probably were, you know, like everyone was saying they were playing some great rugby and that they were going to win, and we didn't want to let that happen, you know.
Yeah. And then we'll jump straight into the final. Anyone I speak to, Brodie, old guard, Peter Steph-Toy, so the new guard, current guard. You mentioned the Springboks, the All Blacks, shoulders back. I say shoulders back. Andrew Mertens, we interviewed him, and I was chatting about South Africa during the World Cup, the build-up, and he stopped and he's put his shoulders back. Like that was his, like, just genuinely did it.
Yeah.
How much of a thing is it still now? You play against each other so much, but the final and the narrative around that. But as a young buck, still in it.
Yeah, I think it's probably the All Blacks' greatest rivalry, you know. The history, I mean, probably the results of the two teams for such a long period of time. And then I'd probably almost say that not different styles, but the South Africans are just so big and physical. The way they play, and the All Blacks, you know, they like to play with skill and speed. It's almost opposite styles of footy. And I guess when you get two teams that have had great results and two different styles of play, it's always going to be a spectacle for the people. And I mean, I'm correct me if I'm wrong, but Peter Steph-Toy, I think he made 27 tackles in the World Cup final. Like,
he'll say 28, just so you know.
Well, I'll give him 28.
Yeah.
Like, just the athletes, I suppose, that come out of both countries and the quality of play, it's pretty phenomenal.
Yeah, like Peter Steph-Toy, where he won World Player of the Year off the back of that. But you're right, you've got the two best teams, which were obviously in the final, with the two greatest athletes, just to kind of quote again what you've said. So when you're in the mixer and you're playing against someone like Eben Etzebeth, is he your greatest rival or not?
Yeah, and that's probably the other point, is like the squads, the people in the squads, like a vast majority have been playing against each other for a number of years. And then you come over to places like here and play each other, and you know, it's just the other week I was up in Suntory and having a couple of beers with Cheese and Colby, and you know, 2 months before we're doing battle in the World Cup final. So I think both teams have got great respect for each other and go for it on the field. And then, you know, like even like you say, well, I'm not sure exactly how many times we've played each other, but it's over a number of years, and obviously he's a phenomenal rugby player as well, and someone you try and measure yourself against. Yeah.
So with someone like Eben, does it give you a different mindset than when you play against Jim Hamilton for Scotland? You know, like, do you have a different mindset? Like, does it just shift the dial, like that kind of Omani, Sam Cane effect, like for you?
Yeah, I think so. Like, and yeah, I guess you always want to. Well, my mindset is like you want to be the best, and to be the best, you've got to be better than everyone else. And he's probably been the best for a long period of time, so you want to measure yourself against a player of his quality. And you know, was it the French second five or first five he ran over there? Like, he just makes it look too easy at times, and he's got the skill set. And again, he's played over 100 games for the Springboks, and to be still doing it that well, I think he deserves to be talked about like that.
Yeah, I think with like Eben, like I played against him as well, and he was like this kind of in the mould of Bakis Botha, but with bigger arms and better looking. And he had this kind of old school thing about him. I wouldn't say he was limited, but he added layers onto his game. I feel like you kind of changed the position of lock, carrying the ball, the way that you operated low. Not that Eben does that, but it feels like he's advanced his game. You know, the kick-off receipts that he comes back with, the way that he carries,
Yeah.
you know, the kind of big headline moments in the game against France with the intercept as well.
Yeah.
I feel like he's elevated his game. I'm saying it's because of you, that's why.
No. There's a great photo when I think we're like 22, 23, and we're both holding each other like this, and my arms look like toothpicks, and his are like cannons. And the number of times I got said that from people like, look, you start doing some gym, and I'm like, I'm trying my best.
Yeah, he does look good though, doesn't he? He's got big arms, that's what I mean. So I've been really lucky to see Chasing the Sun too. Have you seen any of it? Got any interest into the insight of the world champions, or not? Would that not interest you?
I've seen a little bit of. I haven't actually like sat down and watched episodes, but just on social media, I've seen bits and bobs and quotes and stuff like that. So,
yeah, and the reason why I say it, because it's really interesting, having played the game myself, and going on past experiences of like motivating players and like strategy and tactics and stuff. The big thing for me was in the South African team, there was so much more than just a big man running into other big men. There was all these kind of anecdotes and weird and quirky things that Rassie brought in. And I love the fact that there's a kind of a myth around the All Blacks. So I want to get a little bit into kind of more of that. Like, you know, with Ian Foster, the coaches, the quality coaches that you have, like how are they with you guys? Is it quite straight-laced? Is it quite kind of coach and player, or is there a different interaction that I might think there is?
Probably the way I could sum it up was like, from what I've seen from the Chasing the Sun, is they're probably a lot more animated than what we, or as the All Blacks and what Fozzie and stuff are. I think the All Blacks way of doing it under Fozzie and when I was there is there's a personal expectation from the coaches, and then there's a responsibility of the players to put yourself in those, to get yourself to those levels to meet those requirements. And if you don't, then they help you find a way. Otherwise, it's on to the next guy, you know.
Yeah.
Like we all obviously talk a lot about the history of the jersey and the people that are represented and the reputation of the All Blacks. But at the end of the day, especially under Joe Smith, you knew what you had to do under him, and then when you get the buy-in from the players, that's what brings the All Black game together. And then there's obviously the rivalry, but I've heard some people say it's arrogance over the year, but a lot of the way the All Blacks were when I was in there and under Fozzie is it's all about us and what we do and what they present. You obviously preview and look at it, but that we're well enough to prepare to deal with the opposition and what they may bring that week. Yeah,
like with that, is it like when you were watching it, were there any quirks that you quite enjoyed and thought, oh, I'd quite like to try something like that?
I did see the bit, I can't remember word for word, but he said something about it's not a complicated game, just fucking run hard or something along the line like that. And like, I like that, because at the end of the day, sometimes you can get worried about like this and that, but if you go forward and make your tackles, then that's most of the game's built around that, isn't it? Yeah,
and because that's it now, bringing someone like Razor and Scott Robertson, and I'm a big fan of it because he is charismatic and came on the podcast that I do and stuff like that. So he opened the doors a little bit, but like more than that, like travelled the world and stuff like that. He's done his apprenticeship, and I know there's been this big play in New Zealand to get Fozzie out and to bring Razor in early. And actually, I'm quite glad that they let Fozzie stand the test of time and get you boys into the final and stuff like that, and walk away with his head held high. But with someone like Razor, how's he going to be received? Because there is this more charismatic approach. And listen to what you just said, that is a shift to what you've had.
Yeah, definitely. I think well, first of all, he's obviously what he's done with the Crusaders. Like he's earned his opportunity to go there, and he's been there himself as a player. And I think like the All Blacks management and like the coaching, they have been there a long time, and rightly so though. For it, but he's going to bring a fresh new approach to it, and he's obviously worked with a lot of the players that are now coming through into the All Black system through age grade and the Crusaders, and like you say, his personality and his dancing and he's approachable and he's out there and doing it, and he's for people to see. So yeah, I'm excited to see what he's going to do, and I think he's said it publicly that like he's going to put his spin on it and do it the way he wants to do, and I think that's the best bit, because if you're trying to copy someone else or do it someone else's way, then it's probably never going to work.
Yeah. And then Ian Foster made it to a final. There must be a part of you that's glad that was kind of seen through. I know you didn't win it and it was such a close game, but the pressure that he was kind of under, the media scrutiny, you mentioned the stuff about Sam Cane, but actually for him to get to that final was probably a big deal, right?
Yeah, I think it was massive. Like, Folley's a great coach and a great person, and I think like as a group, it brought us together to maybe work that little bit harder, or give him the opportunity to be there in the final and say he took a team to the final, because from my eyes, like he did nothing wrong, you know. Like he was the right man for the job then, and to give him and put him there, then yeah, I'm glad he got to experience that and say he got there as well.
Yeah, just give us an idea what the final was like. It was obviously very close. You know, South Africa didn't score a try, it was all off the boot. A red card, a potential red card if you were All Blacks with Sia Khaleesi. Like, there was just so much going on, but that kind of old rivalry. Just give us an idea of what the build-up was like.
Yeah, I mean, it was probably similar to a little bit to Ireland in the quarterfinal. You know, they came down to New Zealand for the Rugby Championship and we won, and then we went up and played them at Twickenham before the World Cup, and again there was cards and controversy, and they handed it to us physically that day. And like you say, we know like when the All Black Springboks test is what's coming, and I saw a little bit frustrated around the cards and the way you probably don't want a final to play out, you know. But at the end of the day, it is what it is, and as we touched on, one guy, but Steph du Toit making 28 tackles. You see players play their best rugby in the big moments.
What about the state of the game? Like, again, I'm going back to Peter Steph du Toit just because of the 28 tackles, because I interviewed him yesterday before you, and you're of that similar profile, played a lot of games, a lot of caps, played in these headline tournaments and stuff like that, but more around the way that you play the physicality, right? Like, where are you looking at it now, like in terms of our game of rugby? We're in a good place? Should the players be paid more? Less games? Like, I know I'm putting a lot on you to kind of put the words right, but as a player that's now coming towards the end of his career and been there and done that, I think it'd be interesting to get your take on everything.
I think for me, like personally, I think like there's obviously a responsibility to look after people's like the head injuries and brain injuries, but also there's like it comes with the game, and like no one wants to see games ruined by cards. So that whether they work out a system there or find a way that it's just even and people still get the spectacle, you know, whether it's a 20-minute red card and then you get to bring a player back on or whatnot. But the one thing I probably missed the most as I got older was when we used to travel to South Africa from New Zealand and touring. Even when the COVID scenario was happening and we were in Europe, but we had to stay in our hotels. But like just how cool it is to get those experiences as a player and for the spectator, like whether they can make the World Club Challenge or a World Season, like it just generates so much, and you get to watch players that you don't normally get to see, you know, and I think that's got to be good for the game.
Yeah, because I think that is the big thing, isn't it? In like South Africa being in the URC, and that like I used to watch Super Rugby when I was younger, when the Australian franchises were strong. You know, back in the day where you know you had like even as far back as Josh Cromfeld, you know, when he's at the Highlanders and stuff like that. So, and the South African teams were a part of that as well. It felt like that kind of just worked, didn't it? But now they've branched off into the URC.
Yeah.
They're in the Champions Cup, you know, and maybe that is a reason why Australia rugby is not growing, or it's gone a little bit quieter for New Zealand. Do you know what I mean? Because you're not playing against South Africa, for example, who are the best team in the world.
Yeah, I think even for like the player development and like experience, like as a young Super Rugby player, getting to go play a South African Super Rugby team, like, and if you go on to play international, like you're used to the physicality and that level of aggression and the way the South Africans play, whereas a lot of players now, especially at super level, never would have played in South Africa and got to experience the Johannesburgs and the Pretorias and the Cape Towns and just the experience of that, you know.
Yeah. And then lastly, give us an idea of what's coming through. Who's the next superstar of the All Blacks coming through?
Yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing what Damien McKenzie can do. Obviously, played a lot with him and he's got so much skill and speed, and I guess now he's probably going to get the opportunity to give the number 10 jersey a real crack. I think the loose forward battle, like with some of the guys that are playing well in Super Rugby, but Sam Penifina, another Chiefs player, he's just so physical and got the size and the speed to to be a big international six, and probably one for the front rowers. I'm looking forward to seeing what Ethan the Group can do over the next few years. So he's what you want in the front rower. He's got a bit of anger about him. He's got the size, and I'm looking forward to seeing what he can do.
Yeah, can you see on the next cycle the All Blacks winning it, or is that maybe a step too far? Do you think there's a bigger transition period to happen?
Yeah, I hope so. Like, I think there's obviously, with change, maybe it takes some adjusting time and some uncertainty, but with the calibre of support and players that they have, and obviously with the coaching group brings excitement, so I don't see there's no reason why they can't compete at the top end right from the get-go.
Yeah.
They have a big tour to the Northern Hemisphere at the end of this year, which I guess is going to be a good test to see where they're at.
Yeah, well, it's been an honour for me to be here with you today, mate, so thanks very much.
Thanks for having me.
It's class. Thanks.